If we had a whiny bitch contest, Shinji would beat Amuro.
Hands
straight up.
Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
We have a special episode celebrating the 30th anniversary of the first airing of Neon Genesis Evangelion on TV in Japan, which came out, if you're listening to it on release day, today, 30 years ago, October 4th, 1995. So,
I was one.
You were one?
Mm-hmm.
I started watching Evangelion when ADVision was releasing the tapes of it between 96 and 98. And then you just watched all of it at the end of August.
Yep. In a day, basically.
Basically, yeah. So David,
a lot of anime.
to help David shave a little bit of time, I had him watch the first movie of the Rebuild series, because that's essentially a cleaned up and condensed version of the first 6 episodes of the anime. Then he picked up the TV series, and I told him to stop at episode 24 and then watch the end of Evangelion. So his perception of Evangelion is largely focused on the original story with the first attempt at a remade ending. End of Evangelion replaces episode 25 and 26 of the original TV broadcast for a couple of reasons. So it goes without saying, Evangelion is perhaps one of the most, if not the most, important anime within the history of anime as a industry. It can be argued whether the story itself has any importance, but its circumstances and its success are what are truly important and landmark within anime. I don't know who hasn't watched Evangelion, so we'll just TLDR the story. It takes place in the year 2015, 15 years following a cataclysmic event that wiped out about 70 or 80% of humanity and changed the physical makeup of the planet. Coastal cities were pretty much destroyed because of great flooding that took place in the incident that was centered in the Antarctic that caused pretty much the Antarctic to melt. The event was called the Second Impact and dealt with a international effort to study a mysterious alien object. In the course of the study, the alien object went supernova, killing most of the science team. So we pick up 15 years later in what's known as Tokyo 3, and a 14-year-old boy named Shinji is being summoned to the city at the request of his estranged father, Gendo. The entire concept is that Shinji is going to be one of the selected child pilots for the program that his father runs called NERV, which are using children to pilot advanced mechs to provide protection for the planet. Why do they need to protect the planet? The thing that exploded in Antarctica 15 years prior was an alien that they have dubbed an angel. And they have a deep understanding that additional angels are about to start showing up and trying to fuck up the planet. So the mechs, called the Evangelion units or EVA units, are essentially the hopes and dreams of humanity to protect them from an additional impact event. What then transpires is a character study of a significant number of broken human beings, all while they are dancing around secret machinations of a cabal that's looking to bring the end of humanity through redoing what happened in Antarctica 15 years ago, but under a controlled plan. And part and parcel to that are the Evangelions themselves, which are partially made from the remnants of the angel that caused the Second Impact. As the select mentally damaged children, who are the EVA pilots, continue to battle the onslaught of alien invaders, the plot to actually reset humanity begins to reveal itself, leading to, in the movie, the success of what's known as the Instrumentality Project, which through Shinji's role as essentially the primary EVA pilot, he is given the keys to the reset of humanity. And when all of mankind and the success of this effort is turned into a primordial goo, he decides that instead of everybody being one, he wants humanity to come back again and unlocks the ability for those individuals that are part of the goo to reform themselves if they desire or can accomplish that. So it's a story of rebirth, forced rebirth, by a group of individuals who felt that humanity was, had strayed from the intended path of their existence, and so hit the reset button and left the fate of mankind within the palms of a socially awkward, clinic depressive 14-year-old boy. So Evangelion was created by Hideaki Anno following a 4-year period of deep depression after the stresses of directing a major TV anime called Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water. And within his creative juices to try to rehabilitate his mental state, he came up with the goals of reinvigorating the anime industry, attempting to create more otaku through the story, and revisioning mecha in general. I think 30 years down the road, I would say it was mostly successful. What was really monumental with Evangelion is how the primary broadcast partner, TV Tokyo, was forced halfway through the series to move it from its primetime slot to play in the middle of the night because of increasing concern by the overprotective parents in this country about the significantly inappropriate material for younger children. About halfway through its run, in order to save the show and keep it going, Gainax, the animation company that Anno was a part of, agreed to have TV Tokyo move further Evangelion broadcast episodes to play in the middle of the night. Probably a combination of word of mouth for the story itself up to that point and negative news as positive reinforcement. When this event took place, the popularity in Evangelion as it was broadcasting surged and led to the success that it's seen since then. And what this did for anime production in general is showed everybody that it didn't matter what time of day the anime was broadcast in. If people like the story or the show, they will come to it, which opened the door for a flood of mature content being produced for TV anime to play in the middle of the night, which is essentially largely where a lot of the anime is broadcast nowadays. This has become the model of a lot of anime. And it's all thanks largely for Evangelion, and then was reinforced by a series that came out a little bit later called Those Who Hunt Elves. On top of the shift in production series behind anime, Evangelion's merchandising has been infamously successful. Following its popularity, Gainax didn't waste any time and maximized the monetization of the franchise and cranked out everything they could, as long as people would buy it, that was related to Evangelion. I think there's something like a few 100,000 Evangelion branded pachinko machines that are currently in existence within the country in use. Ava's opening theme song, Cruel Angel Thesis, is essentially the all-time most popular song in karaoke. The characters are, at this point, ubiquitous with Japanese culture, between Rei, Shinji, and Asuka. So it is definitely a cultural landstone that has also translated very well internationally and is largely responsible for an increased number of international fans, among other things from the mid-90s. But it's undeniable the financial and cultural impact Evangelion has had on anime and Japan in general. So with that said, David, you speedran a complex and confusing and semi-muddled hodgepodge of mysticism, slapped together with large doses of self-therapy at the hand of Anno, who at a certain point in the writing of the series, a friend of his purportedly gave him a book on psychology or psychotherapy, and he dived into it so much, it started to influence more of his writing towards the end of the show, which, because you haven't watched episode 25 and 26 yet, lays bare why 25 and 26 are the way they are, because it is essentially just a psychoanalysis of the characters.
Sounds like a lot.
The Instrumentality Project's completion, instead of being this grand, global, visceral thing that's shown in the end of Evangelion is instead shown as this internal struggle between the characters as they're analyzing themselves and the perception of those around them, of their being and existence, which does show up in End, particularly at the point where the movie shifts to being more of an art house piece, kicking off with the scene that was filmed inside of the theater.
Yeah, that was weird.
If my lore is correct, that footage was from an original broadcast of the movie that the audience was seeing themselves on the screen at that point in the movie. Like they were piping it into the projection. And then that got captured and was just released for the other versions of the movie.
There's a lot there. I don't know how long it's going to take me to fully process this show.
Well, I've had the benefit of, let's see, I started watching it in 96. I didn't like it at first. A friend of mine and I rented the first tape from Blockbuster, which was episodes 1 and 2. And I'm honestly not really that big of a mecha guy. And kind of fell asleep in it and just didn't really care. And then at the insistence of my friend who did enjoy it, I came back to it a couple of months later. And by then, I think we had about half the series available. And as the story began to unfold itself and detail more complexities, I did get invested. And at that point, it was tape would come out, we'd watch it. First 2 episodes, we'd have to wait another 2 months for the next fucking tape with 2 episodes. And did that till the end of it. And then we had to wait for the fucking movie, which the first time I watched it, I watched the fan subs of Death and Rebirth. So Death is an hour-long recap of the series. And then Rebirth is the first 30 minutes of what eventually becomes Air and End of Evangelion. And Rebirth ends right as the mass production units are circling above Asuka, waiting to attack. I did not like the way that ended, because it ended right at the tension. So we had to wait, I think it was like another year before we had access to End. I don't think End was commercially available in North America until 2001 or 2002, I think. I think there were some issues with getting it licensed. But thanks to fan subs, I got to watch it in late 98, I think. Early 99? I don't remember. It's been so long now. So that said, I've had a lot of time to go over the series and discuss it and debate it. I've watched it. I don't know how many times I've watched Eva. The full series, maybe a dozen times, partially due to just sitting people down and showing it to them. Twice, I've sat through the entire thing and the movie in one crack, showing it to people because they're like, yeah, we'll devote, 10, 12 hours to watching all of Evangelion. I'm like, okay, let's do this. The scene in End where they wake up on the beach and there's that half-severed head of the giant ray in the LCL fluid. When we'd have parties and people would pass out on the couch, we'd pause that scene on the TV and wait for them to wake up to that, to see what kind of reaction we could get out of their drunken state of confusion.
That's cruel. That creeped sober me out. I have a thesis.
Okay. Is it a Cruel Angel thesis?
No. There's a lot of the show about the show that is okay. The Avas are cool until you realize that they're living things, and then it creeps me out. I was okay with the Avas when they were like, yeah, these are cool robots.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And then they started like doing shit on their own, and I'm like, robots don't do that. And then they're like, they're actually alive. And I'm like, what? And then none of the characters are very likable, in my opinion.
Not even Kaji?
Okay, I like Kaji. But
Misato's likable.
Fair, but they're all so flawed that it's like hard. Besides 2 like ancillary characters.
Sure.
A lot of the characters you're supposed to like in this show.
I don't know.
Are just terrible people.
I don't know if there was any concept of writing them with the idea of making them likable.
Well, fair, but like...
Especially with the 3 pilots, I believe I've read somewhere that there's supposed to be different representations of Anno himself.
Okay.
Through his 4-year battle with that deep depression he went through.
To me, they feel like just really watered down Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Okay.
Where
all right.
Rey feels very much like a pestilence kind of, and then Asuka's conquest.
You mean war?
War. It alternates between war or conquest.
Got it.
Shinji, at first, doesn't really seem to be like one, but then gets like thrown into being the final horseman of the apocalypse. I am death, basically.
Sure. Well, yeah, especially with how things transpire in End of Evangelion.
And there was just so much Judeo-Christian references and imagery.
Yes. Mostly Kabbalistic.
Right. But
Largely
there was a lot of
Kabbalistic.
Also just like, you can just blanket it Judeo-Christian. Like
So-
the crosses are very Christian,
Yes.
but then the stacked symbol thing
The Tree of Life.
is very Judaism. And I was like, did this guy like find a Bible and a Torah and just went, now kith?
Well, and you have the original angels that are Adam and Eve, and then you have Lilith, who only appears in the Kabbalah.
Yep.
Who is the succubus who is brought to tempt Adam away from Eve.
Yep.
Some of the names of the angels are, maybe all of them. I don't know if all of them, but some of the names are actual angels that are found in Judaism.
Yep. Also, there was a lot of just crucifixion imagery.
Yeah, well, yeah.
A lot.
There's the scene when the Instrumentality Project is completing in the end,
Yeah.
where just crosses start popping up all over the planet.
Yep.
That's to represent people being reverted back to the LCL fluid, which is
Right.
essentially the primordial soup of humanity.
Yeah. But also, like, when they brought in the fourth Ava, the fifth Ava, it was just crucified on a cross,
Yep.
being brought in by a plane, and I'm like, that's extra. Or when you first see Lilith just crucified with the spear of
Longinus.
Longinus
Yep.
impaled into it. And they're like, here's Adam, he's a little fetus. And I'm like, what the fuck? There was just so much that I think I'm going to need like weeks to process all of that.
Part of the reason with the Judeo-Christian imagery was to stand out within the Japanese media landscape, because Japan is by no means a country that has historically large amounts of Judeo-Christian iconography and mindset within it.
Yeah.
Christianity and Judaism, to a very small degree, do exist within Japan, and there is a history of Christianity in Japan, obviously, but it is nowhere part of the cultural landscape there as it is in Europe and
Right.
in the Americas.
Right, I understand that. I just
So they did that as kind of like a,
shock and awe.
you could
factor.
say like an edgelord kind of thing, which is not uncommon in Japanese, in anime.
This anime is very edgelordy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So there's a lot of like,
Sexual tension?
yes. Also, speaking of cranking it,
Okay.
did Shinji beat his meat to Asuka when she was passed out?
In the movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I understood that.
Yes, the opening scene of End of Evangelion is Shinji coming into his hand and then calling himself a horrible person.
Yeah, okay.
As Asuka's laying there with the breast exposed, yes.
Because then they referenced it in the weird, like,
In his mental imagery of them in their house,
yeah,
and they get into that argument.
yeah.
Correct. Yes. That was him psychoanalyzing himself from the perspective of Asuka. Whereas the point where Shinji even has a hard time loving himself is kind of what that representation is.
I was just like, buddy. I don't get why he was strangling her at the end either.
Frustration. Think of all of the trauma that she has dealt upon him since her arrival, and how he largely just rolls over and accepts it.
Fair.
And at the point with which he thinks she's dead and just loses it, which helps to kind of facilitate the Instrumentality Project's completion, because he just loses connection with himself and begins to get absorbed in the Eva. Due to all this trauma, and then he has that psychological episode where he is attacking himself in the form of Asuka in that imagery of their kitchen.
Yeah.
He's, at the end of it, he still struggles with not putting all of the blame outside of himself. And since in the idea that through him willing himself back into existence, one could argue that he also willed Asuka back into existence, and that's why they were the only two on the shore along the LCLC. I think what happened is the weight of all of the abuse he received from her and his own self-hatred culminated into him trying to recreate the image that he had dreamt up in his mind while he was going through his psychoanalysis inside of the Eva. But because Shinji is a coward, he doesn't go through with it and is instead repulsed by his actions, and Asuka comes too, and she's disgusted by him in general. A lot of self-hatred.
Yeah.
Shinji, Asuka, Misato, Akagi has a lot of self-hatred. Kaji has a lot of self-hatred. Rei is an anomaly, and even though the cool Dairy characters have existed before Rei really kind of kicked off the flood of cool Dairy characters within anime following it. And to an extent, Asuka with being a tsundere. Tsundere had existed before, but Asuka really became more of a template at that point. Rei being an artificial construct based upon the wishes and desires of Gendo for the loss of his wife. Though it's hard to say how much Gendo really cared for Yui at a personal and intimate level.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, Yui is probably the only human being that Gendo actually cared about. Everyone else to him was just a means to an end and a tool, including Shinji. But Yui affected him so much with her presence that it led him to do all of this. I believe he blamed Shinji in a way for Yui's death. I mean, absorption into Eva Unit 1.
Probably he's a terrible person.
Gendo is best dad ever.
That man could take a best dad ever mug and shove it up his ass. He could Mr. Hands himself.
So the thing that's always...
I'm just kind of nothinging Evangelion right now because I'm still just trying to understand it.
Trying to process it?
Yeah.
Questions do you have in regards to Evangelion?
Was Shinji trying to make it so that him and Asuka were supposed to like remake humanity or some shit? Like, is that why she was there?
Yeah, kind of. So at the end of it, he's pretty much picking the girl he wants to be with. And he understands that even though at one point he did desire Rei, he understands that there's just something that makes Rei taboo. We know what that is because it's literally just his mom. And he also desired Misato. But he also understands that Misato being older than him and having a history that he doesn't understand, that there is that barrier to true connection with her. Yeah. That literally only leaves Asuka, the one person who on the surface hates him more than he hates himself.
It's not really conducive to restarting humanity. So good job, moron.
The idea, though, is that the components of the LCLC that exists, the individual people, if they can achieve a state of wanting to return to existence and they can remember themselves, essentially, they should be able to form out of the LCL. But yeah, it's kind of also ended with the idea of Asuka and Shinji are left with repopulating the planet. Like they are humanity at this point. Adam and Eve.
Shinji's an idiot.
Shinji's a broken 14-year-old boy.
Yes, but also just an idiot.
He does not know the love of other people. He has no self-esteem and does his best to avoid conflict and negative interactions.
I don't know.
He's not necessarily stupid.
He's a pushover and a bitch.
I
don't like him.
He's a character that's uncomfortable with responsibility and with the responsibilities that others place upon him.
I don't like Shinji.
I don't think anybody likes Shinji. He is the prototypical there's Amaro, right? But he is the newer prototypical wet blanket character. Like the legions of people have bemoaned his whiny bitchness.
He's more of a whiny bitch than Amuro is.
Yeah.
Like if we had a whiny bitch contest, Shinji would beat Amuro.
Oh, yeah. Hands
straight
down.
out.
Hands down.
Because at some point, Amuro just accepts that he has to fight to defeat the Zeon and Char.
Shinji, too, though, does. There's the second time when he leaves Nerve and the city gets attacked and he's like, I really do have to come back and fight, don't I? Because no one else is going to do it. Yeah, that was the part when Asuka got her ass whooped.
Yep.
That is probably one of my favorite Eva combat scenes when she just has that arsenal laid out down in the geofront and she's just burning through all the weaponry until she's reduced to nothingness. And then she runs away and they find her
naked in a bathtub.
In a bathtub, remembering her horrific earlier childhood as when her mother tried to kill her.
Just so much. I can see why it's important and why it was important at the time, but
That's fair.
it was only okay. At this moment in time, it does not feel like something I would watch again.
Sure.
Because,
So now that you've experienced Evangelion,
I also don't like the art deco whatever bullshit.
Anno's directing style, you don't like the
Or just any time the director's just like, symbolism. It just reeks of, I'm so much smarter than you because I made this movie to look like this. Behold my glorious cock.
No, that's undoubtedly the case with Evangelion. It was done to be, it was, like you said, it's an edgelord anime.
Yeah, I don't like that
That's fair.
in media because it's just like, yeah, cool, your dick's so big. You made this cool symbolistic thing that makes no fucking sense. Good job. Like, I really don't like Inception.
Inception wasn't a good movie.
Well, right, but same vein. It's like very symbolic and art deco and
Well, here's my problem with Inception. The concept, the underlying concept of the story is really cool and has a lot of potential that he just turned into a heist movie where he didn't really flesh out or play with the potential of the concept of the story.
Fair.
And it was super disappointing to me.
But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is I don't like
You don't like things that are stylistic.
huge and stylistic and symbolistic. Like, some symbolism is okay.
Sure.
But if the whole selling point is symbolism everywhere, try to realize what it all means. Good fucking luck, moron.
You don't want to watch a movie that's a college exam
No,
over
I'm not-
iconography and
I'm not
archetypal?
watching media to take a fucking college entrance exam on. I'm watching media because robots fight.
To be fair, though, there is a lot of symbolism in Gundam as well.
Fair, but it's not like...
In regards to Gundam, what do you think the overarching message is with Gundam?
Child soldiers bad.
That's part of it. Yeah, it's essentially war is hell.
And war's hell. Yeah, I'm not saying that no symbolism, that like media should have no symbolism. I'm saying when it takes like...
Where it is part of the plot, where the symbolism
Yes,
literally
where
drives
the end of Evangelion is literally a college thesis about
It is
Kabbalism or whatever the fuck you said.
Kabbalism.
Kabbalism.
Do you know
where
what?
it's like,
Do you know what Kabbalism is?
I have no fucking clue.
Kabbalism is
I read the Wikipedia page. That's
Kabbalism
all
is
I
a
know.
mystical branch of Judaism.
Yeah, cool.
So Kabbalism is where the concept of the golem comes from.
Cool. I don't want a PhD in theology. I just want to watch an anime.
You don't want to learn from your media? You don't want
I'll
to be
learn.
exposed to
I'll
new
learn
things?
small bits in my media. I don't need the entire ending to be this confusing fuckfest. And speaking of fuckfest, Jesus Christ, there's so much fucking nudity in this anime.
Particularly in the movie, but they were able to get away with it.
As Bridget said, welcome to the 90s.
Yes.
I feel dumb because I don't know if I like this show. And
That's
you and
fair.
Bridget are just like, this is one of the best shows ever.
I don't know if I can say it's one of the best shows ever. I think it's one of the most important anime ever.
Well, I don't know. Like you and Bridget both said you guys like it.
Oh, I do enjoy
And,
Evangelion. I don't think it's the best anime I've ever seen, but I put it up higher on a pedestal due to its perceived and recognized impact on pop culture and anime in general.
I just feel dumb because I don't know if I like it because I don't understand it.
It's okay to not like it.
But if I feel like
you don't have to like it. I think the important part is that you experienced it. So now when people talk about it, you can talk about it as well. But I think more importantly, it has now opened up this lexicon of iconography that you will begin picking up all over anime because of whether intentionally or indirectly, a large quantity of anime and manga after Evangelion came out were influenced by this series. Now that you've seen it and you're familiar with the imagery and the pacing and certain scenarios and scenes and character interactions, you'll start picking that out more in anime. You'll be like, wait a minute, that's very something like Ava.
also,
Yeah.
the mocap for the Avas was very, very uncomfortable.
What do you mean?
There's the scene where Ava 1 starts eating the angel,
Yes.
and it looks like it's mo-capped.
No, it's not.
It looks
That was
motion
all
captured.
You gotta remember, this was mid-90s. That's all hand-drawn.
It was way too smooth, and
That's all hand-drawn.
that was creepy. It was so creepy that. Are you sure they didn't use
That's
the
all
rotoscop?
Nope.
They didn't use rotoscopy?
No, that's all hand-drawn.
Because it looks like how the rotoscoped
Correct.
Lord of the Rings movie looked.
Oh, from the 70s?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's all hand-drawn.
That was creepy how that was so fluid.
There was a time when animation studios had a lot of effort put into developing the talent of their employees. Unfortunately, it appears to no longer be the case within the industry that many of veterans of the anime industry, including the ex-president of Gainax, have complained about for a long time now.
I don't know, just uncanny valleyed the fuck out of me.
Ano, as a college student, ended up getting work in conjunction with the production of Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind.
Okay.
Nausicaä's production was falling so behind that Miyazaki put out, or somebody at the production team, put out an ad looking for help from artists. And he applied, and Miyazaki liked what he did so much that he hired him, and he helped do the artwork for the climax of the story. He's actually worked with Miyazaki a number of times. So Nadia, the big series that kind of got Gainax recognized, was originally a story that was outlined by Miyazaki in the 70s at the request of NHK. And then Ghibli didn't want to have anything to do with it by the time NHK was ready to make the anime, and Gainax ended up getting picked. In The Wind Rises, Ano voices the protagonist. So Ano and Miyazaki have kind of a intermittent, decades-long relationship.
I still prefer Gundams over Evas.
Mechanical design?
Yeah. Also, the fact that the Gundams won't come to life and eat me. They have no mouth, therefore they cannot scream. Also, the screaming from the fucking Evas is uncomfortable.
How about Shinji's screams?
Yep.
Terror.
Yep.
Sends chills down my spine every time I watch the scene in End of Evangelion when he sees Asuka being torn apart for the mass production units.
Or
every time.
Or the screams of the Diamond Angel.
Yeah. Yes.
That was literally just a woman screaming. Uncomfortable. Uncomfortable.
I don't think Ava's supposed to be comfortable.
It very much hit me with a lot of I'm not enjoying the sound design. It's making me feel really.
Oh, you were watching the English dub too, weren't you?
Yep.
I think the Netflix English dub is a new one. It's not the ADV dub, which is a shame because at the time ADV had in-house talent, and so the voice actors were doing all the dubs for ADV. So the English voice actor for Kentaro Oe from Golden Boy does random background voices in Evangelion. He's like one of the announcers as they're doing stuff in Central Dogma. Funny as shit. And so after Ava, we'd be watching different ADV stuff. We're like, wait, it's Misato. Wait, that's Shinji. It was always fun to pick out Ava characters in the other ADV dubs in the 90s.
There is only a select few English voice actors nowadays too.
But true.
I'm watching Iron-Blooded Orphans and I'm just like, there's literally every English voice actor from every English dub of anime I've ever watched.
Matt Mercer does half of the voices.
Matt Mercer, Bryce Papenbrook. So I'm like, oh, there's Kirito. There's the guy that plays I can't think of his fucking name right now. Zenitsu. I'm like, all these voices. Chris Sabat. He does Vegeta, Piccolo, a bunch of other important characters in anime.
Okay.
If you want a gruff sounding character, you pick Chris Sabat.
Oh, so he probably does Guts?
Probably. I don't fucking know. I've never seen it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And I'm interested to kind of get a feel for the viewers as to their thoughts on the integrity, importance, and impact of Evangelion, both personally and in the landscape of media in general, I guess.
Also, please don't crucify me for maybe not liking the show.
He doesn't have to like Ava. That's fine. All that I cared about is that he watched it because I felt it was integral to his experience as an anime fan.
Just please don't crucify me like the Avas.
Next week, we are switching up what we're doing for Anime Plus. We are going to be doing 2 episodes a week for Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn. This was David's suggestion, as next season's a bit weird for us. So that's what we're going to go for. We're both getting into a Gundam kick.
Yeah. I blame the card game.
I blame GQX. We will be putting the regular podcast on hiatus, but we will see the return of Weekly Ranma with season 2 of Ranma 1/2, the remake.
Ranma 1/2, the remake, the sequel.
Much excited. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified when we have off-schedule episodes. And
we also maybe have a pipeline for an interesting side quest episode. The returning guest voice.
Yes, very much so. Thanks for listening, and we'll check you guys next time.